The Walking Dead game, first released in April 2012 and currently extending over 3 main 5-episode seasons. One, a mini episode as a downloadable content. A mini 3-episode season is about to finish with its final episode in less than 3 weeks. Over the course of no less than 7 years, we've come to know and love the main protagonist of the game, Clementine, a young girl found alone by Lee Everett at the start of the epidemic. Lee helps teach Clementine how to survive in the chaotic world and sacrifices himself to try to reunite Clementine with her parents. Clementine continues to travel with other survivor groups for several years, eventually becoming the adoptive parent of the infant Alvin Jr. when his parents are killed. Welcome guys, this is Ola from Stop Me O channel, and today we are trying to answer the most asked question within the Walking Dead fandom. Will Clementine die? Clementine was not even the game's protagonist when it all started in Season 1. She was one of the first elements created when it comes to the game's development, yet she was designed to act as a moral compass for the player in addition to an influence on the player's decisions, to which the player would have to reflect upon. She was accompanying Lee Everett, her mentor and a father figure, someone who took her in and took care of her throughout the events, someone whose life tragically ended by the end of Season 1 and, depending on the player's choices, someone whose life could have been ended by Clementine herself. Now, The Walking Dead was one of the first mainstream games that introduced the player to the idea of choices. It was not a new concept, but Telltale took the idea of choices and limited interactions within games and applied it to one of the biggest entertainment properties of the moment, The Walking Dead TV show. It certainly influenced other games that followed the franchise soon after. Two of the key directors and writers behind The Walking Dead's first season went on to create a new studio called Campo Santo that released a game called Firewatch in 2016. We're actually getting a new Campo Santo game later on this year that looks absolutely amazing. The idea of choices being core of the game remained its very essence until the very last season. And even though, as many suggested over the years, more often than not we were offered an illusion of a choice rather than an actual choice, changing the events enough for us to notice, it still remained fresh. It was not enough to keep Telltale from going bankrupt though. In the late 2018, we found out the studio is shutting down. Too many projects, not enough successful ones, led to its bankruptcy. And for a moment there we almost felt like we'll never get to find out what is in fact Clementine's destiny. Thankfully, Skybound Games took over, and with a small team that worked on The Walking Dead since the very beginning, the game is soon about to finish. How will it finish though? Ever since the final episode's title was released, or even before that, people were speculating that the only possible outcome for The Walking Dead, the only way to sort of come a full circle, would be to kill off Clementine. Why? Because the final episode's name is Take Us Back. Now, let me explain that a bit. Take Us Back is actually the title of the song playing during Season 1 last episode's credits, straight after Lee's demise, that Clementine either caused or washed. Therefore, most people assume that this is a perfect way to say goodbye. This is meant to be a reference, a way of closing that game, coming full circle. After all, in Season 1, Lee was taking care of Clementine in the very same way Clementine is now taking care of AJ. So, according to some fans, it would make even more sense if AJ was potentially the one responsible for Clementine's death. According to some fans, the cover art for Episode 4's menu and episode's achievements names back up that theory. If you have a look at game's menu, you can see Clementine's hat lying by the river. Clementine never takes her hat off. Now, if you have a look at the achievements, you'll find titles like Red Water, Final Lesson, Goodbye, You and Me, Better Life. They all seem quite definitive, right? Now, finally, in the final season's first episode, Lewis sang a song. Oh my darling, oh my darling, oh my darling Clementine, you were lost and gone forever, dreadful sorrow, Clementine. I guess we have it all figured out, right? She's pretty much a dead person walking. Right? No, I don't think it's going to happen. And if it does, it might just be the most cliché, obvious, expected ending that was ever created in any games. First of all, I gotta say, I do not think they'd literally expose their ending in such a non-subtle way, by showing us Clementine's hat lying right next to the river when we know she never takes it off. Second of all, I do not think achievement names can be treated as a hint, since they're pretty much ambiguous and can be interpreted in so many ways. What I do think is that The Walking Dead's final season is an improvement compared to all the previous seasons. What they're trying to do here is to actually make our choices matter. And I don't mean Clementine's choices, like go with Louis or go with Violet. I mean her influence on the little boy that we're taking care of, AJ. AJ is just like Clementine was in season 1, except perhaps a bit tougher because this actually is the only world he knows, a world he was born into. AJ relies on Clementine deeply, and every decision that we make when it comes to his fate might just influence our own destiny. Now what I've noticed is that AJ brings up the subject of death quite a lot. He's wondering if walkers are still people. What happens after death? He's asking us if it's alright to kill people, if killing people means that he's a monster. If we do not influence him right, he'll begin to treat his own actions, like killing Marlon, lightly. We can also try and make him understand that killing someone can never be a light decision. What I feel like is happening here, we are actually shaping AJ into a person he will become in that final episode.
Marlon was a monster. Louis doesn't understand that, but he will. You were justified.
I was justified.
And depending on our choices, he will or will not do something that us, the player, might not want him to do. Yet again, we find ourselves being a moral compass, just like in season 1, but this time around we're guiding AJ. Maybe, just maybe, we will find ourselves in a situation in which AJ will consider us the enemy. I mean, that's a slim possibility, but it is possible. I mean, he's not the brightest little boy. If he's too reckless when it comes to killing people, if he's taking it lightly, he might hurt us or he might hurt himself. That is also why I did not kill Lily, even though, my god, she deserved to die. Now, what I'd like to point out is actually the possibility of multiple endings. Endings depending on how we treated AJ, what we taught him, what he thinks is right and wrong. I am also fairly certain multiple endings were in fact confirmed by Brody Anderson, the Walking Dead executive producer. And how will it end? We started with the ending and we decided it would take 4 episodes to get to that. There's going to be a variety of avenues throughout the season, but we won't ever make the player feel like they got the bad ending to the story. It's your ending. Your choices do matter, and your choices could, yes, but only could, lead to Clementine's demise. But that cannot be the only possible outcome, and if it is, I will be very disappointed. I said that before, in my opinion that's the most cliché, obvious ending they could come up with. I can easily imagine them sitting in the developer's room, figuring out the ending for the game, and the first idea that someone actually said was, hey, AJ will kill Clementine the same way Clementine killed Lee. What a great idea. That's pretty refreshing, right? It's not. That's not a good idea. That's an idea that's going for drama, for cheap emotions, like dramatizing the action just for the sole purpose of doing so. I mean, have a look at The Last of Us ending. Is it possible to finish the game with simply silence, with no one dying, and to still have people discuss that, its moral ambiguity, for the years to come? Hell yes. I'm actually going to discuss that ending. I'm going to post an in-depth Joel and Ellie analysis one of these days, so do subscribe. Another thing that would make that ending a bad one is the fact that Clementine is in fact a still very young girl. She's just getting into romance, her life is only beginning. I'm not saying I'm valuing young person's life more than I value older person's life, but in this case it does feel like it would be somewhat unfair to kill off Clementine in the very first season she found her first love. And I'm not counting Gabe here, I mean, come on. So that's pretty much it. I don't think the hat, I don't think the achievement's name, I don't think the title of the episode mean that Clementine will die. If anything, these are meant to mislead us. And they surely did with many people. I just don't think it's a good way to close that game. You don't have to kill off someone to have a nice ending. You don't have to. Just look at The Last of Us, like I said before. Have a look at The Last of Us. The best ending in any games. Don't kill off someone just for the purpose of having some drama. Don't kill someone just to make us cry. I'm not looking at you, Life is Strange. I guess that's it. Let me know if you agree with me in the comments section. Remember to drop a like if you enjoyed that video. If you didn't, you can still drop a like to support me. Have a look in the links in the description. There's social media links like Twitter. You can join my Discord. Check out my Patreon where I release early access content like parts of script for that very video, for example, and I'm playing Spider-Man in there as well. Thank you so much for watching. This was Ola from Stop Me O channel with another theory video. Stay tuned for more and stay safe, guys. Bye.